Hello guys, I'm Kenjy Cailao from grade 11 St. John Bosco. My advocacy speech is all about death penalty. Death penalty is a sin because God forgive us so we have no right to take another's life. Death penalty is not worthy because if there is no sin, they will be punished. God has forgiven our lives, so just that we should finish it when we have time. The death penalty will only be given to the real criminals and not to those who have just been blamed. Remember, only the Creator have the right to take back the life of His creation. Death penalty is completely against the teach of the church, against the law, and most especially against God. It is also considered as one of the capital sin according to the Ten Commandments.
Go.
Death penalty is one of the contemporary issues that we face in a previous administration. Classifiably,
Go.
classifiably in the time and leadership of the 12th presidency, which is Fidel Ramos. Stop the continuous killing. Stop it. Violates our human rights. At the same time, kill the future of the innocents. Give another chance. Everyone has a right to change. Life in prison is enough rather than killing. According to Champ of Patel, Amnesty International's director for Southeast Asia and the Pacific, the idea that the death penalty will rid the country of drug is simply wrong. The resumption of execution will not rid the Philippines of problems associated with drugs or that are crime. It is an inhumane, ineffective punishment and is never the solution. The Philippines' attempt to reintroduce it are clearly unlawful. This will just earn the country notoriety as one of the few countries to revive its horrific use.
Go.
Abolish it, do not allow it. A lot of people were accused directly without enough evidence. Also, a lot of people that were sentenced that aren't completely proven. One of its example is a Canadian therapist that accused murder and sentenced death. And after 5 years, it is proven that it is misleading or false accusation. Can you bring back the life that taken from him? Sadly not. The death penalty has been used for years as a way to punish the guilty. Over the years, the death penalty has cost our justice system millions. Besides the cost, it is not effective or reducing crime. Our society is not any safer and does not deter people from breaking the law. There are many different options in our system to fight crime, but the death penalty is not one of them.
Go.
The death penalty is supposed to prevent others from killing up, but it does not. According to Death Penalty Information Center, the top academic criminological societies, 88% of these experts rejected the notion that the death penalty acts as a deterrent to murder. Fear of the death penalty has little effect on people committing murder. A murder it usually starts as an argument gone bad when the person is angry. No one makes death penalty their first thought when they leave the house. It never crosses the people's mind. If they kill a person, they will get the murder cases in the US. If the death penalty is sending a message, unfortunately, no one is listening to the message.
Go.
Every day, people are executed and sentenced to death by the states as punishment for a variety of crime, sometimes for acts that should not be criminalized. In some countries, it can be for drug-related offenses. In other, it is reserved for terrorism-related acts and murder. Some countries execute people who were under 18 years old when the crime was committed. Others use the death penalty against people with mental and intellectual disabilities, and several others apply the death penalty after unfair trials. In clear violation of international law and in standards, people can spend years on the death row, not knowing when their time is up or whether they will see their families one last time. The death penalty is the ultimate cruel, inhuman, and degrading punishment. Amnesty opposes the death penalty in all classes without exception, regardless of who is accused, the nature or circumstances, guilt or innocence, or method of execution. It is irreversible and mistakes happen. The use of the death penalty for crimes committed by people younger than 18 is prohibited under external international human rights law. Yet some countries still sentence to death and execute juvenile defendants. Such executions are few compared to the total number of executions recorded by Amnesty International each year. However, the significance goes beyond their number and calls into questions the commitment of the executing states to respect international law.
Go.
Since 1990, Amnesty International has documented 145 executions of child offenders in 10 countries: China, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Iran, Nigeria, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, South Sudan, the USA, and Yemen. Several of these countries have changed their laws to exclude the practice. Iran has executed more than twice as many child offenders as the other 9 countries combined. At the time of writing, Iran has executed at least 97 child offenders since 1990. My first issue is that the justice system is never 100% correct. Judges and juries can convict the innocent, as we know from the case of drug users that got blamed, jailed for more than a decade, or murdered because of a crime they did not commit. Most crimes end up with criminal. Sometimes people turn up innocent because they were only sent to jail and not sentenced to death. Their sentence can be reversed. A death penalty is irreversible. The jury is also a factor in determining penalty. Execution is the ultimate irrevocable punishment. The risk of executing an innocent person can never be eliminated. Since 1973, for example, more than 160 prisoners sent to death row in the USA have later been exonerated or released from death row on grounds of innocence. Others have been executed despite serious doubts about their guilt. It does not that is it does not deter crime. Countries who execute commonly cite the death penalty as a way to deter people from committing crime. This claim has been repeatedly discredited, and there is no evidence that the death penalty representation. In some countries, death sentences are imposed as the mandatory punishment of certain offenses, meaning that judges are not able to consider the circumstances of the crime or of the defendant before sentencing. It is discriminatory. The weight of the death penalty is disproportionately carried by those with less advantaged socioeconomic backgrounds or belonging to racial, ethnic or religious monitory.
Go.
This includes having limited access to legal representation, for example, or being at greater disadvantage in their experience of the criminal justice system. It is used as a political tool. The authorities in some countries, for example, Iran and Sudan, use the death penalty to punish political opponents. The death penalty is the ultimate denial of human rights. It is the premeditated and cold-blooded killing of a human being by the state in the name of justice. It violates the right to life. It is the ultimate cruel, inhuman, and degrading punishment. There can never be any justification for torture or for cruel treatment. There are some defendants who have earned the ultimate punishment present. I believe life is scared. It cheapens the life of an innocent murder victim. It cheapens the life of an innocent murder victim to say that society has no right to keep the murderer from ever killing again. In my view, society has not only the right but the duty to act in self-defense to protect the innocent. And that's all, guys. Thank you for watching.